Hey guys, I'm here with the 2021 Toyota Corolla Hatchback. Now, I requested this car because a couple of my friends told me it was fun to drive, maybe even a hot hatch. A hot hatch, not so much, but it certainly is fun to drive. So when we traditionally think of a hot hatch, we think of the Golf GTI, the Golf R, or maybe even my beloved little Veloster N or Veloster R-Spec. Or let's not forget about the Civic R-Type. This little Corolla is no hot hatch, but is it lukewarm? Absolutely. Is it warming up? Hell yeah. And it's a great daily driver and you get a lot of bang for your buck. So let me talk you through what's cool about this little number. The vehicle I'm showing you today is the XSE trim, which is the higher end. I had the good fortune of driving the manual transmission, and in a little hatchback, it's always more fun to drive a manual if that's your bag. But this vehicle certainly doesn't necessarily need to be a manual transmission to have fun. The storage on the Corolla hatch is pretty sweet. I mean, sure, it's no enormous SUV, but this is a big trunk. For me, who feeds a family of 4, this was plenty of space. And in general, Americans always seem to think they need more storage than they do. Hatchbacks are just so great because once you put those seats down, you get a whole lot of storage that you weren't necessarily counting on. For those of you that are interested in driving this in the manual transmission, you're in for a good time. The interface is really nice. The ergonomics of it are fantastic. So the placement of the stick, the way the stick feels, indeed the engagement of the clutch is really nice. I'm going to be a little picky here and talk about how sensitive the clutch is. I found it to be a little too sensitive for my taste. I much prefer the one in the Veloster as well as in the Civic, but you know, hey, that can be personal preference. For a car that ends up being around $23,000, it's incredibly comfortable. Mine had seat warmers, it had a great air conditioning system, and I can't believe I'm going to say this, but for once, the Toyota Infotainment did not let me down. Bravo. Apple CarPlay, you know, it's all right here. The buttons are dumb, but you know, Toyota just in general doesn't do this well. So if you've got Apple CarPlay, you're in really good hands. With a 0 to 60 time of around 7.5 seconds, I certainly cannot call this a hot hatch. But as you can see, I live in a beautiful canyon, and canyon carving is a daily occurrence for me. And for a little compact daily driver, the Corolla really kept up with my aggressive driving. The tires are a little bit narrow and not necessarily as sticky as I'd like them to be. So I really couldn't get on it as much as I would have liked, but it doesn't mean you still can't have fun in this car. It's a really nice compromise between the hot hatch and the boring daily driver. My daughter reports that the back seat in this car is terrible. Granted, she's a little spoiled because she sits in a lot of press cars, but this isn't particularly comfortable. I'm 5'6", and the seat is set up for someone who's 6 feet. And yeah, I've got a decent amount of legroom and a decent amount of headroom, but it's certainly not cush back here. Could you put a little kid back here? Absolutely. Center armrest, cup holder, check. You've got all the basics, right? I didn't necessarily feel like I would be safe in a crash, and that is one thing that would keep me from buying this car. However, how a vehicle feels doesn't always equate to how it performs in a crash. So if you're really interested in this, I'd encourage you to look at the NHTSA crash testing and see how it performs. In terms of styling, the front end of this vehicle looks great, but the back end, I don't know. I mean, for a vehicle that's so much fun, why does it look so sad?